It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you mind? Cause you might be my neighbor. Cosmic Space Dad here, everyone. I'd like to say good morning to you. In today's lesson, we'll be over the mark of the beast. Oh my God! So many people look at it and they don't see what it's talking about. First off, inside Revelations, it says in your head. It doesn't say on your head. Originally, it says in your head. The mark is in your head. So, probably means it's in your head. Now, the infamous number that's associated with it is 666. Some people will call this the carbon molecule because it has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, such as carbon-based life. But the number 666 also has many cultural references. Disney actually has 3 6s inside their logo, which is 666. Now, the question is, what does 666 point to in some ways? I found that in Genesis 32:30 through 31, Jacob went to Peniel, and it's spelled Penieo. And the next verse is Penuel, showing that it's a homonym. Doesn't necessarily need to be spelled the same way. So Pineal, Peniel. And when you go to Stedman's Medical Dictionary, which, see, Peniel is shaped like a pine cone, penniform, pertaining to the pineal body. A small, unpaired, flattened body shaped somewhat like a pine cone, attached at its interior pole to the regimen of the posterior habenular commissioners, and lining the depression between 2 superior caudiculi between the splenium and the corpus callosum. Is a glandular structure composed of follicles containing epithelioid cells and lime concentrations called brain sand. Despite its attachment to the brain, it appears to receive nerve fibers exclusively from the peripheral autonomic nervous system. It produces melatonin. Let's see. Alright. Now, the lime concentration is called brain sand, is the calcified pineal gland. And they found cells lining it that are receptive to light. That type of stuff. But it also produces melatonin. Now, melatonin's chemical equation is carbon 13, hydrogen 16, nitrogen 2, oxygen 2. Yes. Now it takes on H2O inside of our bodies. Once it builds up, this is why you're supposed to save your seed, because melatonin is leaked inside of semen. You can also find a study where melatonin is produced, if it's not enough inside the system, you can see that up inside rats, the vaginal opening happens sooner. Maturation, which is also probably the reason why we see children when they sit in front of the screens all the time. The blue light is blocking their melatonin production, causing them to go into puberty sooner. Makes sense, just a theory. Someday maybe I'll have a thought and research it deeper. I don't know. But anyways, it becomes carbon 13, hydrogen 18, nitrogen 2, oxygen 1, which is 5-MeO-DMT. So that whole save your seed stuff is actually important, so that your body can create melatonin, and the melatonin can convert itself into DMT after you sit in darkness for a while. But that's just there. Now, it said that the pineal gland is shaped like a pine cone. What else is shaped like a pine cone? You have to get into our brain systems. The brain itself, on the bottom, you have your reptile brain, which is the survival mechanism, survival brain. It's the how's the Argo testimony? It's the mercy seat. It keeps you alive and going. Then you have your limbic system, and that contains all the pictures and mental stuff that you carry and accumulate. It's like a memory bank. And then you have the wings of Hermes, which is your neocortex, your higher thinking capacity. Altogether, your brain is the feathered serpent. And you put it all together. So, and then inside the stars, they just brought up that new constellation, which is the old one, or Ophiuchus, the old man wrestling the serpent, which you could think is Saturn wrestling the serpent, or the survival brain. Yeah, pretty interesting, right? So, the feathered serpent would be considered a dragon. The pineal gland looks like a pine cone, which a pine cone looks like a dragon's egg. Now, you have to heat up, and so all the legends that we know about dragons, you have to heat up the dragon's egg. Think about it, Game of Thrones, the dragons weren't hatching until Khaleesi sat there with the, inside the fire, and all of a sudden, pop, the dragons were born. She was unburned by the fire. And if you pay attention, her hair is white or blonde, you can consider, and she has blue eyes. That comes into play. The white hair, blue-eyed motif comes into play with Alice in Wonderland a lot, which we'll get into that in another lesson. Yay! But what ends up happening, some people may be hearing that whining sound in your head. That's your gamma waves in your brain starting to pick up. And it's going to start to heat that egg up for some people, those who are ready for the challenge. Not everyone's ready for it. Not everyone's done the things they're supposed to do or what they've been told to do. Also, as you can see here, Google Chrome, that's a 666, that's laid on top of each other. Symbolism is laid out right in front of us, how this stuff goes together. Now, melatonin is responsible for us to go to sleep. Disney is the land of dreams. Yes, they've been doing a lot of stuff on the underground and all this other stuff. They were putting out all this symbolism, controlling the masses, using it backwards. But they didn't know what they were doing. Foolish people, really. Being used. They have no sense. Whatever. So, Disney, the land of dreams, plays into this. Goes into the original teaching. If you look into the Hopi prophecy of the Blue Star and Red Star Kachina, you will see that they bring up the original teachings that were taught by the Creator. Now, what were the original teachings? In the last lesson, we went into how fire lays, and there's earth, the land of the raging fire and the cool mist came together to make the creation. And when they had stood up from each other, you have Father Sky and Mother Earth. Right? So, the Sky Father is a symbolic person of the being that's come from the entity, the sun, of the raging fires. So She and Va. Those two combined together. She means fire, Va means air. Now, if you look at the top of everyone's pantheons, back inside the tribal beliefs, you will find that there is, in fact, a person at the very top. Even in Wicca, they have the god and goddess, but they admit that there is the impersonal god that's above them. He's found inside every different belief system. The same dude, he sits inside darkness. Okay, this is Amos 5:20. The day of the Lord is in darkness. If he's in darkness, how great is that darkness? What if you were to wake up, but you were in darkness? And that's all you saw. And over again, you kept waking up and just in darkness. There was no light. There was nothing. what would you do? Now, the original teaching is important. Don't you think it's weird that we call Aboriginal people of Australia Aboriginal? But they were the original people there. And AB, inside medical terms, means to abduct or to move away, take away from the body. So we're going to take AB away from the body, as the word kind of instructs you to do, for the riddle anyway. And we're going to go to original Australians, the original people of Australia, Bayame, the Sky Father that came there, taught them it's all a dream. So, the pineal gland makes melatonin, which puts us to sleep, which also can be converted into 5-MeO-DMT, which can put us back into dreamland. The dream, the great dreaming. It's a dragon's egg that must be heated up, bathed inside the higher electrical energies that are flowing through the system. And inside of it, they say it's a stargate. So if it's a star, that means it has soul or sun. Now, we just had the coronavirus, and corona is a halo. So, halo virus. The halo around the heads of saints, or on the outside of the sun. This works off of, if you look at the Lost Teachings of Atlantis on page 287 through 289, I believe, you have Yod, He, Va, He. And this last He is a Yod as well. Okay? So Y, H, V, H, Y. Yod, positive polarity. It is the male giving aspect. Hey, negative polarity, is the receptacle feminine aspect. Positive and negatives work together in various vibrational ratios to give form to this, to make this, and to make this, that. Those are made of the same exact thing on the very basic level. It's various frequencies that have arisen within them and shifting and moldings within their substructures that give them form or vibration. That's called vow, the intercourse between the two to bring all these different things into existence, which goes back to how these two go together, positive and negative, and they vibrate together and they have the children, which are the Father Sky and Mother Earth, from the primordial fires and waters. It's all a thing that goes around there. Now, this last thing is a He, and what comes from it is a microcosm and macrocosm experiencing itself, which is what we are. We would be considered He's inside the system. There's a primary Yod outside the system. The yogis will tell you that the majority of this creation is feminine. Okay? So the primary Yod is feeding positive energy into the He, which separates out, his energy separates into both masculine and feminine energies. And because he's the one giving energy to the system, that's why, even though it's it takes on the polarity of male inside the situation of the creation. So hey, the dark energy of the father speeds and spills over a little bit more what the mother can't contain. And the dark matter means mother, M-A-T-T-E-R, the same as your Pia and Dora mater inside your head, M-A-T-E-R, which is saying mother. So the dark mother, or you can consider it to be the original Lilith, is birthing the creation and all the various aspects of the creation, which makes the vow. Now, that was what we consider like the singularity points, black holes, stuff like that. which is the receptive part of it that's constantly pulling in energy. Until finally it goes Yod and puts the corona on the outside of it and becomes a sun. Because, you know, the Samhariban, the unified field theory showing all places are just points of singularity, and it goes there to make sense. So this Yod right here is the first inside the chain. It's the first sun, the corona. It's a Yod to Yod to Yod. That's popped up again. It is a sun, but it also has a corona on the outside, which makes it a sun. And then we have Mother Earth, which would be the next hay inside the chain. And then we have the vow and intercourse between the light that is given off by the sun, which is why we have sun god worship, to the hay, which would be Mother Earth, the feminine aspect that takes that energy and creates new life from it, to have the vow to bring about all the different things that we see on the planet, which makes us the next hay. Okay? We're supposed to go from being hay to Yod. This hay is Inanna, the queen of heaven. She falls and takes off her 7 heavenly crowns. This Yod would be considered Dismudi or Tammuz, which is your whole right, left, and blue and red thing that you people have going on. But eventually you have to go beyond that and come back together to be purple, the royal color. She's the queen of heaven, which means that you too must have a royal color when you enter back into it, and be purple in your perception, not blue or red, and open in your consciousness. Virgin consciousness takes in all information and just sorts through it. It comes to your own decisions. Stuff like that. And then you have to put back on your 7 heavenly garments, reascend back up, and receive your crown. As you receive back up, the Kundalini energies grow inside your body. This starts to activate the soul stargate within you, causing the pineal gland to pop. The soul within there turns on. Remember, you are filled with the Holy Spirit. You are the Holy Ghost. 1 Corinthians 6:19. You are the Holy Ghost, and you are not of your own. Everyone is the same thing. That you're given, you have the Spirit inside you that's powering you. You do not control yourself. You did not make yourself. You came from somewhere else. You came into this existence, got a body, and your perception fell, but that essentially you're just a person looking out of your eyes. That's what you are. You don't really have a body. You're going to leave this behind. You can do other things. What do you think this is all about? Your old folks, the grandparents told you to like build your character, be true to your word, all these good, noble qualities. When you were a kid, you learned all these good, noble qualities from people in Disney, the Dreamland. Alice, the name Alice means noble, to be noble in Wonderland. Look at the creation around you, all the wonder that is out there that can be done. People are sitting here stuck in front of screens, but really the adventure is out there. And who you are must be made inside, but also be shown outside. It's in and out. It's up and down. People aren't making characters, man. Like, you're not even distinguishing yourself. You're getting caught up inside the selfishness and the greed that is there. Let me ask you something. Since you have the potential to be entangled, because once that soul activates, which is a singularity, because the pineal gland looks, when you see it formed in meditations, it looks like this. It's a circle with a white light on the outside of it. Okay? Kind of like the galactic black hole. Singularity. Your brain's a quantum computer computing in 12 different dimensions. You have to activate your soul. The solar disk that's always shown above the head. When you activate the soul, you come outside and you actually go into avatar mode. The solar disk that's formed. It's inside there. It's all sitting there right in front of all the stuff. The Egyptian, they have the whole solar disk forms on the outside of the person's head. Now, a dragon would be considered a monster. right? The Hebrew verb six, valve, as in yod hey vav hey, six. 666, the symbol for monster, which would be to awaken the dragon. It's little hints that are left out in the open of how all these things string together. But you're not using your brain to be childlike. You're trying to think inside of linear things instead of seeing full concepts everywhere and trying to learn what's going on. Have to take what's in your toolbox and dump it out onto the floor, and then you go ahead and go into your mind and actually work through various things. This ability that we had when we were children, like if you sit there, close your eyes, and think lava. Oh, you get the lava impression of when you're running around. Or being at the beach and you can feel the sand and hear the breeze. Or I'm in the forest. That ability to see using the internal eye, which is your mind's eye, not the pineal gland. Your mind's eye is the actual function of you. The ability to see by your own eye. It's a way you can broadcast out different things. So the gland pops. The egg, in order for it, you can't count your eggs until they hatch. The pineal gland will pop and it opens. And when it opens, it starts to secrete amrita or the 5-MeO-DMT. And it puts you back into a dream state where you had to pass back through. So, and once you get back in and you will meet the Creator. That happens. He shows up inside the whole process. So all the things that are there, we left the riddle across the world, hidden inside symbols and signs, because Thoth speaks in symbols and signs, or thought, or city of the Ogdod, OG dad, original father, Thoth. And then you can take that second T inside of Thoth, flip it, and push it down to the line. So it goes like that. Have the H right there, O-T-H, Stora. The lightning in your spine. The Christ is the person perceiving by the power of the lightning in your spine, the Holy Ghost. That whole, it's a systematic way of things emerge from within oneself to the exterior world of how you actually function. You have a quantum computer for a brain. You can manifest things into reality. There is no such thing as scarcity. But if you don't believe that you can do such things, you shut down the function. From the awakening of Osiris, all things are possible. You are only limited by who you think you are. And as you gain a better understanding of what it is you live in, all the questions you left unanswered from your childhood that you just accepted, all the little things that slowly decay away inside your mind as you look at various other things that aren't necessarily good for you, trying to keep yourself lulled to sleep. These things are happening. Now, once you pop that gland, and that happens, you get the seal mentioned inside, like what, Revelations 3, the seal of the Lord inside your head. That would be the Son, or Yod. This Yod right here, this is the Father, or the Christ, or the Son, and then this is the Grandfather, which is essentially the same. It's all a Yod chain. You have the seal of the Lord within you. You have to open it. If you don't activate your own gland, do the things, sit down, do the research, do the breath work, do the shadow work inside yourself, come to know your character, accept yourself, love yourself, become generally peaceful. Don't sit up here and talk bad stuff about people in your mind. I see people and I don't really say anything bad about them. Things happen. If someone might cut me off, I'm like, but I'm not sitting there being like, your mother is a blah 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 blah. You should be blah blah blah. Why? You don't take anything that personally, guys. The dude at the very top is known to be impersonal. You should imitate the dude. Why? This dude's playing Minecraft. This dude wanted to, he could do whatever he wanted to inside this place. He'd come down here and be like Superman. But what does that do? Like, he's already done that. That's whatever. He's trying to see what his children can do. The offspring of the creation. What powers you all actually have inside yourself. But first, like, people are saying it's a dream, it's a simulation. It's definitely a dream. That's the original teaching. Started off as a dream, and to be able to explain it, reason emerged from that. And so it went from being a toy land to being Tao land, a temple of understanding. Processing, things like that, grokking. So, things have happened, systems have been made, he could do all that. But you need to believe in yourself to access your ability to do these things. But first you have to make yourself clean. Have to have some riddles. Seek inside and outside to see the same thing going within and without, the fractal nature of reality. To understand that you are a part of the fractal as well. And allow yourself to dance within the creation. But yeah, the mark of the beast. If it is closed, the pineal gland is not popped, you are still a beast. You have not been quantumly entangled with the system. You do not have an ID. The real ID 2020. ID, as in you think, you all need to get an idea. Like, idea, right? IDEA. Now we can go ahead and sit here and ID, we know that's identification, EA. Now, the funny thing, EA Sports, it's in the game, right? But at the same time, EA is the Akkadian name for Enki or En-Ki. Ki is the waters, because En means Lord. Like Enlil means Lord of the command, and King means Lord of the waters. Okay? You need an ID in EA, which is a Lord of the waters, identification in the waters of creation above and below. You need to have an idea for yourself of who you are. If you don't know who you are, you're not getting a real ID 2020, which would be this singularity quantum entanglement. Why was everyone's like, oh, we're all one. This is all one. Well, why was it made in the first place? The dude's been one the whole time. Okay? It's made to individuate. But you have to know that the primary Yod is the dude that started all this. Come on, man. You all hate whenever people at work take credit for your stuff that you do. Damn. Acting so unreasonable. Bad children, I swear. See, I told you, Cosmic Space Dad having to teach you all stuff, man. Common sense dictates some things. Too serious. Y'all could all come together and do the beautiful neighbor thing. Could be building roads and putting the whole planet together, feeding people, figuring out what the body is like, listening to each other. Nope. Nope. We're gonna argue. Want to be masters of the world. Man, you don't even control yourself. You think you can go to outer space? Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Love yourself as you love your neighbor. Honor the one at the very top. All that stuff. You follow simple instructions, man. You start doing the things, seeking to do. He doesn't make author confusion. So you can start putting the things together and use your brain. He wants you to use your brain, not to give everything to you. You use your brain, you learn how things work, and then you can do the things in the thing. And this is at a midway point right now. I'd rather be doing the things in the thing, but I'm supposed to teach. and help y'all know stuff. I mean, you know, as a thought, that kind of happens. Life is very punny. Okay? So punny. Either you can live inside the divine comedy, or you can live within the divine tragedy. When you put the two together, it's divine traumedy, which, once again, trauma, we'll get into the little cuckoo cocoa puff stuff, right? Like monarchs, project, some stuff like that. Why butterflies are all on all the magazine covers and Project Monarch, that type of stuff, right? Third ventricle in the brain, the third temple, shaped like a butterfly, opens more with trauma. The more life that you have, starts to make that area unravel and blossom. So, things for the blood flow to increase. That's why people go through and do all that weird spanking stuff and blah, blah, blah. It's also why they do that weird stuff for the whole CIA thing. They were trying to invade and take the kingdom, but unfortunately you can't do that without the person being the person. You can't force someone else to do it. They have to do it for themselves. You have to save yourself by your own actions and character proofing, building, proving yourself, being noble in Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland, which Alice has blonde hair and blue eyes. Oh, that also goes to Harley Quinn. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. Chinese Bride, blonde hair, blue eyes. There's a lot of like Daenerys Targaryen. She has that white hair. It's supposed to be hair of wool, which is white. And, you know, a lot of people have the white hair and blue eyes. If you look at cartoons, white hair and blue eyes. Cartoons, you have to be childlike to enter into the kingdom. Which means you have to at least sit down and watch cartoons with your children. And then use your understanding that you have instead of the higher functions of the world to see the symbols and signs within the cartoons that you're watching while your kids are enjoying it for the shows and learning stuff from motifs. If you're really in the game, you'll start seeing the different color symbolisms and the really deeper levels that are being conveyed through our collective subconscious, which taps back in with the primary Yod through Indra's web. Gotta research stuff, people, man. What would you do if you lived in darkness all the time? All this stuff that's been made has been made by successions of other beings making discoveries of things that were just initial thoughts and eventually became dreamed into some level of stability and fortune. Mankind works by pulling something from the mental level and building it inside the exterior world, piece by piece. But if you know the creation, you can build the things that you want from the creation by understanding how to interact with it piece by piece. Once you do the things that are necessary to get into like the bigger game, the higher purpose of life, man. Like, God, cosmic space dad. See, tell me things. It's really cool. It's a massive riddle. A lot of symbols and signs everywhere. And when you sit here and think about it, it makes sense. Should make sense. If it doesn't make sense, probably wrong. But that makes a good amount of sense on like the basic levels on a broad spectrum. Because everyone's then gotten there and kept on battling on about what's what. The manual for the body is hidden now. Because people that would do evil things or would try to do evil things would go into it. But everything gets destroyed. Like it's all a process. You can't. The dude made it. Of course he has locks in the system. You might as well just stop. Like, that's silly. It's so silly. You're all the same thing. I'm just saying, like, angel or demon. He, the Lord, made all things, Isaiah 45:7. He makes light in the darkness, makes peace and evil, which means he made the good beings and the bad beings. All the different things are powered by the person looking out of their eyes in order to drive them. Just like an ant or everything else, it's all important, all inside its own sphere. of things with being, and it's all characters, so pieces of finding the flow, being in existence in a cosmic flow. Like, if a person came down here now and they were a bird person, like the Tengu from Power Rangers, like, would you want to fight them? Or would you be like, what's up, bro? Could be a cool person. Snake person. Lacerta. She was hanging out with humans and had herself mimicked. And then she dropped her mimic, and the dude that passed out, and they want to ask her all the questions. But you were just talking to her beforehand. She was like a normal person. Just because she looks different. So, elves. You know you have friends that are tall and skinny, and they, like, keep on, they can eat as much as they want, but they just never put on weight. Wonder what that could be. Dwarves. We literally have people that walk around that are dwarves. And people make fun of them. You ever think the dwarven tribes are actually real peoples? I know a lot of dudes I know that are really short. Like, they like to drink. Like to get a little rowdy. They're feisty people. Some people look like works. If you look at some people's facial structures, or how their eyes drift farther apart. They've been talking about humans been mated with by all these other species for all this time. They come down here and collect samples of DNA and crossbreed children. Like, come on, guys. If everyone can just be cool and be chill, you know, we can all get along and figure some stuff out and how to do this stuff properly, it'll be great. What's the odds of that happening? Not very, but still can have hope that it's going to happen. But everything has a point in time for the game to come to an end. So, cheat sheets! Yay! Cosmic Space Dad with the cheat sheets, yo. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. I'll catch you all later. I wonder what the next lesson will be. We'll have to review some stuff. I don't know. I know so many things. My brain's so big or whatever. Good biggie girl. The biggie girl.